She put me on a pedestal that I hope doesn't rock and fall too far. And if I hit the ground, y'all just help me up, okay? Uh, uh, Welcome to this study group. We will be going into part five. I don't want to hold you and prolong you with a lot of introduction. I do ask that as you come in each week, please put your name in the chat so that we have record that you are here and you know that you are as a registered parliamentarian, you have to have so many hours of work. We hope and pray that you will learn a lot tonight as well as continue learning. We're going over part one, and my responsibility is to help you to feel comfortable using your book. So you do need your RONR 11th edition in front of you. This lesson, this first part, involves you finding exact quotes. If you've not read part one, research question introduction, it tells you some things that you need to be aware of. And for those who have not had time to read it, I'm not going to read it to you, but I will give you some quick review. Keep in mind that you are looking for exact quotes, not almost there, because there are a lot of times it's repeated in different places, but not the same wording. There are some hints usually given in what you're looking for, such as quotation marks or italics or underlines or something that has numerical value written right in it. When you're scanning your pages, look for those hints. Don't try to read each page when you're doing research for knowledge. Read for what you're looking for only. If you just open your book right now to any page, something on there is different. There's something italicized. There's something in bold print. There's something underlined. There's a numerical value somewhere on that page, perhaps. If that's in the quote you're looking for, check that first. Start at the beginning of the sentence and read all the way to the end when you are using this research, when you're trying to do this part. That's one of the things that I have to help you to understand, and that's what we'll be going over. Second thing, you are looking for a hint in the question so that you can go to the table of content. Learn to use your table of content. It will help you get there quicker, because I know all of us have read this whole book at least once, and that we will be able to get there. And if not, just ask a question. Are there questions that you have right now concerning the research part? One of the things that they want you to do is to be able, as a parliamentarian, to help your presiding officer. Your presiding officer may be standing before the body or the assembly, and they need to find something in writing to help support what they're saying. You do not have time to turn page by page. So you're trying to prove, as a parliamentarian, that you can quickly assess where to go in the book and find it. You have 30 minutes to find 5 passages. You will have 30 minutes to find 5 passages. Some of them you can go right to in less than a minute, and others it'll take you 5 or 10 minutes. Do not spend more than 6 to 8 minutes on any one. If you can't find it, go to the next one. The result of passing is 4 out of the 5. Almost everyone will find all 5, but you don't want to spend 25 minutes looking for one thing. And if you can't find it, you can't find it. It's okay. We'll go on tonight with page 3 of your document. And in these parts, I will look on the screen and find somebody's name and ask you to read that and give us what you think is the key word to help us to know where to go in the index. So as I looked on this, Lisa Evans, where are you? Please unmute and read question number 1 on page 3 for us. I know she signed in.
What I'm actually in my car driving.
Oh,
listening.
well, no, we don't want you to read. No.
Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry. This is my first
That's
time,
okay.
and
That's
yeah,
all right.
I just came from walking, but I did not want to show up, so I'm driving home.
All right, then. You just be attentive, okay, to the road.
Yes, ma'am.
All
Thank
right,
you.
then. How about you, Bauman? Since you were the first one I saw on here, I'll have you to read question number 1 for us, please.
Okay, thank you. It is a fundamental principle of parliamentary law that the right to vote is limited to the members of an organization who are actually present at the time the vote is taken in a regular or properly called meeting. Although it should be noted that a member need not to be present when the question is put.
All right. When you read that, what's the thing that jumps out at you for us to go to? If I were going to the index, what do you think I should go and look for?
Starting the meeting with the quorum.
Now, remember, I'm looking for that exact passage, and it's a fundamental principle.
Yes.
Parliamentary law, the right to vote is limited.
Is a principle of parliamentary law.
So you want me to go to the index and find principles of parliamentary law? And I'm going to find this exact passage concerning the right to vote, because principles of parliamentary law encompasses a lot. You want something very specific.
Okay.
Do I want to go to the right to vote? Do I want to go to membership in the organization? How about being present to vote? There are a lot of things in that passage. That's the key in going to the index, because the index is where you want to try to go. What do you suggest we look at? Does anyone have an idea? Unmute and talk up. Don't be afraid. This is the time.
Voting number.
Somebody said go to voting. Let's go to voting then. Let's see what's under voting. Which part of voting? When I go to the back of the book and I look at voting, first thing I'm going to find is, do I look for voting? And I have voting with motions related to it. I have voting cards and I have voting member.
Voting right to.
Okay, so one under voting, you want me to go to voting right to. Let's see. Right to. So it says I can go to page 3. I can go to page 252, 271. Now, if I go to page 3, I've used up one of my minutes already just asking you this. It's okay.
What about, is absentee voting?
You don't want to put yourself in a strain. You want, I'm sorry, say it again.
Absentee voting?
Absentee voting. Let's see. Do you want me to stay with right to vote first or go straight to absentee voting?
Where do you see right to vote?
Okay, you look under voting. And when you look under voting, there are different things that are addressed. I'm on page 715 in the book. Under voting, you've got absentee, you've got abstain from, you've got adjourn, agenda. You have all kinds of topics concerning voting.
Yeah, better.
The first thing I was told to go to was the right to vote.
Okay.
Under that second column. And it says I can go to page 3. It'll mention right to vote. I can go to page 252 through 253, or I can go to page 571. I may have time to go to all of those if I take my time and turn the pages. Don't be nervous when you're doing this. You just want to go and see if you see that. On page 3, right to vote. Do I see right to vote? On the line number 1, 2, 3, where that number 4, it says right to attend meetings. That's where I see a right. And right to vote. But the passage itself, it is a fundamental principle of parliamentary law. That's the sentence I'm looking for on this page. And I do not see that sentence. I started at the top and I went for every letter, first word in each sentence. And if it doesn't start with it is a fundamental, it's not on that page. Don't try to read, try to see the period, in the beginning of the sentence. It's not on page 3. Let me go back to right to vote because that's where I was told to go first. 252. Let me go to page 252. And you're going with me. I'm not the only one looking.
Is this the book actually
And
working?
if you found it, no, that's the new, you're doing the 12th edition. You want the 11th edition.
Okay,
Our testing is coming from the 11th edition.
okay,
All right.
all right.
All right. On page, okay, and everyone needs to try to find, if you find it before we do, let us know. Where'd you find it, Doretha?
On page 263.
Page 263?
Mhm. Line 15.
263, let's see. Page 263.
Line
And I am looking for the words. It is a fundamental,
15.
I don't see a sentence that starts with, it is a fundamental principle of parliamentary law. Which
Line
line?
16.
Line
Line,
15?
Line 16, 15 or 16.
Line 15 starts rules which embody fundamental principles. Now remember, in this, you must find the exact words in that question. Not what you think, not what it's inferring.
so exact, it has to start with,
It has to start with, it is a fundamental principle of parliamentary law.
Right after absentee voting. Is that line 16?
Everything in that sentence must be on that page.
Right.
I've located on
Exactly.
423.
Page 423.
423.
Yes, it's on
Page
page 423.
423. Now, don't look in the back of the book and find the answer. Look through the book
No.
and find the answer. Notice on page 423,
Maybe it's line
absentee
17.
voting. It is a fundamental principle of parliamentary law. And everything that question says, read it all the way till it has everything, and the last word in that sentence is put. Notice that it says exactly those words. Michelle, you look like you already had that answer looked up.
Yeah.
Got the
Yes,
11th edition.
Most
I
of
did
us
my
did.
homework.
And
It's the
I
only
expect
one
most
that's-
of you too.
It's the only one
But
I
see,
did.
one of the things you're going to learn about Rita Cloman is I will give you one that's not on this page and ask you to find it. And it is going to happen, so get ready. But for those who have not studied, I have to go over what part of that sentence made you know where it was. What part
Absentee
of that
voting.
sentence made you know where it was?
Voting.
Voting. Well, let's see.
Well, for me, it said member not be present.
Member
Right.
not being present would be an absentee voter, okay?
Right, who are actually
Those are the
present.
kind of things that you're looking for. Something to help you to know what to look for in the back of the book to refer you to the page. Because
I had to go get my 11th edition. So where did we find it at?
it's on page 423.
Okay.
Everything in this test is coming from the 11th edition. Another question about number 1. All right, let's go to number 2. Ramsey Cooper, would you read question number 2 for us?
I sure will. Question number 2, one session cannot interfere with the freedom of each new session to choose its own chairman pro tem, except by an election held with previous notice.
Okay, what words do you suggest we look for in the index based on that question?
I believe it's going to be meeting.
Okay, because a session is a meeting. So you want me to go to meetings and look for what under meetings?
Let me get there. Hold on a second.
All right. Does anyone else have an idea that has not studied it already and know the answer?
Chairman pro tem.
Okay, somebody wants us to look up chairman pro tem. That's a good idea. Because that's what you have to do. You have to make a decision. Where am I going to find this? Chairman pro tem. And be sure when you go to whatever it is you're going to, read all of the subsections of that, so that in case there's something there, because Chairman Pro Tem, when I look in the back, says go to page 395 or 452. And I have absence, president, I have convention, invited non-members, and there was nothing in that passage that dealt with those. Notice of elected organizational meetings, president's appointment, president's officers, professional, removal of, and temporary. And that was under Chairman Pro Tem.
That's not good.
I think the first thing you told me, Ramsey, was members. Did you decide what under members that you were? No,
I'm not
meetings.
seeing anything that makes
What
sense.
was it you wanted to look at under meetings?
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that makes sense.
Oh, really? Okay. But you got to look for something. You can't just say, oh, no, that's not it. Does anyone have an idea?
Session or elections?
You want to go to sessions?
Yeah, but there wasn't anything there.
Yeah, I'm leaning
Nothing under
towards
session.
election.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards election as well.
I'm leaning
No.
towards my glasses.
One session cannot interfere with the freedom of each new session.
I think I found it.
All right, what page?
Page 88.
Page 88. What did you look for to go to page 88?
Oh goodness, let me go back. I looked at under Chairman Pro Tem, notice to elect beyond current session. I
Okay.
use the session as the keyword.
Under Chairman Pro Tem, you looked, and let's see. I am looking for one session. I wanted to start with one session at the bottom of the page, line 32, 33.
Yes, ma'am.
One session cannot interfere with the freedom of each new session to choose its own Chairman Pro Tem, except by the election held with previous notice, which is exact wording as it said. Very good. And that was Maya, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I see it. Thank you.
Ms. Coleman,
Cloman, yes.
what page was second to? I didn't catch that.
What page was?
For the
Number
answer
one?
for the chairman for question 2.
For number 2, page
Dennis.
88. Page 88.
Did you find where she's asking the question?
At the bottom of the page, line 33. Another question about that. Okay, question number 3. Let's see. Valerie, are you here?
Yes.
All right, if you will read, are you able to read question 3 for us?
Yes.
All right.
Matters that the bylaws require to be considered at a particular meeting, such as the nomination and election of officers, may be regarded as special orders for the meeting and be considered under the heading of special orders in the order of business.
Anything in particular you want to tell us to look for in the back of the book?
Special orders?
Okay, let's try special orders. Special orders of business, it says order of business. Special orders, and I have a listing under special orders. Is there any particular page you want us to look for? Because at the top, of page, what, 711. Special orders is continued for business. 185, 352, 364, 366, 369. And then I look at adjourn, that's not in the
357.
Something in the question would be
Election. So
Election.
357.
Okay, let's go to 357. And I am looking for a sentence that begins with matters on that page.
Line 27.
Line 27. Matters that the bylaws require to be considered. And notice that I'm looking back and forth at the question to make sure every word in that particular passage is the same as what's on the question, and it is exactly there. And so all I have to put on my answer is page 357.
Okay.
Now, when I took the test, we had to put the page and the line number. You only have to put the page.
Do we have to put the key?
No, the key is for you to study.
Okay, gotcha.
And what was the key word that helped you to get that?
Special orders.
Special orders.
Okay.
And then you go down to election. Okay.
Order of business.
Correct. Whatever it is that helped you. Well, all I did was underline it in my question so I wouldn't tell myself the answer in case I went back. Okay, very good. Thank you. Question number 4. Let's see. Judy, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
All right, yes. Would you read question 4 for us?
Okay. The standing rules of a convention usually contain both parliamentary rules relating to the conduct of business and non-parliamentary rules, so that in some ways they resemble a combination of special rules of order and ordinary standing rules.
What do you think we need to look in the index for?
Probably either special rules or parliamentary rules.
Okay. Standing rules of the what? Convention.
Standing rules of a convention.
Okay, so you said
Oh,
special.
let's see, 618 maybe.
Okay, you want us to go to page 618. Let's see, said the blind.
Standing rules of convention.
I'm looking for a sentence that says the
Standing
standing rules of a convention. Standing rules. I want to look at the sentence that starts, the standing rules of a convention usually contain. And notice it has quotation marks, parliamentary.
There it is.
Line 10. Very good.
10, right? Mhm.
Yes.
I tried to use a non-parliamentary key, but I couldn't find anything in the index. If
Okay.
it was in,
So, yeah, sometimes you'll look for things and they aren't there. Go to a different word in your question. Go back to your question and see. One of the things that you have to be aware of is your prepositional phrases. On that question, notice it says of a convention. So I know that this standing rule specifically deals with of a convention and not necessarily just regular standing rules, which is
Okay.
exactly what it says, that they vary, and they may resemble the regular meeting or special orders and ordinary standing rules, but they're different for convention.
what was the answer?
And the answer is page 618, number 4.
A further exception on the negative vote.
I got that one. Number 5. Interesting. Irrelevant.
Okay. AD Cooper, are you here? Ms. Cooper? No?
Rita, I'll do number 5.
Oh, okay, Mary.
Okay, number 5, I found it on page 45.
Hey, now you have to do fair.
What I
You
have to
already
do?
found it. You can't.
No, because I was looking at it after I had already gotten the other one. I just started looking at the next question.
All right, but you have to read the question and give us what you looked at to find it.
Got that one.
Read the question, because
All right.
everyone is not as fast as you are.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's okay.
A further exception arises when a negative vote is inquisitively irrelevant, as for example, when a vote of 1/5 of the members present is required and the number who have voted in the affirmative is clearly greater than the 1/5 of those present. So what I went to, first I went and looked at negative vote. Hold on, let me tell you what I underlined. I looked at negative vote, and then it told me to come to page 45. So I went and looked for a further exception arises. And so I looked at it and I found it down in line 10. That's how I found it on page 45, line 10.
Very good. I mean, some of them you'll go right to it.
Yeah,
and
that
you'll
was one.
see it. And other times you'll have to go to a different heading.
Okay.
I found it in another place too.
That's really good.
I found it in another place too. Under voting.
Not exactly. What's the other place?
Voting. I went to voting, and then under voting, it talks about the negative vote.
Oh, okay. So you found it on the same page, just a different place in the context.
Yeah.
Table of context. Okay, I got you. Yes, there are multiple pages that can refer you to it.
I got it on negative vote. Okay.
Negative vote is a good way to look at it. Questions about how to do this first part, because we're only going to go over 5 each week unless you all have already done them and you don't have a question, and I'll give you one to find. All right, let's go to part 5. We're through with part 1 for tonight, and then we'll go to part 5 and try to get through all 30 of them in the next 20 minutes. Because I want us to stay on time.
Number 1, page 10.
All right.
Okay.
Remember, Marguerite Galloway, would you read question number 1 and tell us A, B, C, or D?
Oh, God. The only limitations on rules that an organized society can adopt might arise from C, national, state, or local law.
Very good. If you have a question about either one of those, just tell us to stop. Otherwise, we'll keep going. Okay. Barbara Lewis, would you do number 2?
The precedence of the various rules of a society is as follows.
Okay, and that word is precedence.
And the answer is C.
Letter C, corporate charter, constitution, bylaws, rules of order, standing rules. And everyone should know the corporate charter is your highest ranking document. Constitution, then your bylaws. Now, you have to make a decision. Corporate. Obviously, since corporate is the highest, it's not going to be A or D. But between B and C, you had to decide. And the way I remembered that was I had to get myself together in order to stand.
Had to get myself in order to stand. Good.
Okay,
Standing.
let us see.
Wilford and standing.
Right. Okay. Let's see.
9-15. The corporate charter is not.
And number 3, Carla, do you have yours? Member Reynolds Bergen.
I can't see the questions, Rita.
Oh, okay, well, that's all right, then we'll go on down. I'm looking on my list here. Derry Hooper? Member Hooper, will you read question 3?
Yes, ma'am. Question 3 reads, a corporate charter is not A, drafted by an attorney, B, a legal instrument setting forth the name and object of the society and other information required for incorporation, C, referred to as the certificate of incorporation, articles of incorporation, or articles of association, D, issued by a national or state organization granting the right to form a subordinate unit. And the answer is D.
D as in door, issued by a national or state organization is correct. Question. And very good to read those, since I now have figured out everyone does not have all of the choices, so we need to read it so that others have it. Okay. Kathleen Cooper, are you present to read number 4?
Yes. Incorporation by a society is advisable for all of the following reasons, except for A, the right to inherit property, B, obtaining and holding property, C, exemption from tax and revenue laws, D, the capability to sue or be sued. The answer is C, exemption from tax and revenue laws.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Carol Corbin, could you do, and you're already an RP, you really don't have to do this, do you? You're just doing this for review. Well, okay. Let's go with someone else.
Isn't that a good reason to have an incorporation, to be exempt from laws? I mean,
sorry, say again.
I said, isn't incorporating an excellent reason to be exempt from tax and revenue laws?
Yes, but it's not one that parliamentary will allow you to do, to use.
Okay. Okay.
To get incorporated, that's not a reason that they will let you incorporate your organization.
Okay, I can go with that.
Very good question. Jackie Vaughn, number 5. Unmute. Are you with us? While she's coming back to us, Dennis? Oh no, I'm sorry, Denise Harwick.
Ms. Cloman, I don't have my study guide yet.
Oh,
I just
all
got
right
nothing
then.
yet, so I can't
All right, well, Dennis, I did call your name because I was looking at it and went down to her.
Number 5?
Number 5.
Number 5, depending on state law, what is a principal advantage of incorporating a society? A corporate charter allows suspension of the bylaws in certain instances.
Are you reading them? Read them all.
Oh, B, officers and members are protected from personal liability on obligations incurred by the organization. C, to comply with the state statute in most states that incorporations is required. D, the society becomes automatically exempt from state held.
Okay, wait a minute. Would you mute your phones if you're not talking, please? since we're hearing your conversations? Okay, now Dennis, did you decide on which one it was? Which principle?
I chose A.
A corporate charter is allowed suspension. Okay, depending on the state, principal advantage, that would be an advantage to incorporating suspension of the bylaws, local bylaws? No, I don't think so. Not to incorporate with the whole state.
Okay.
B?
B is correct. Officers and members are protected from personal liability under obligations that may be incurred by the organization. That would be a reason to incorporate so that they are protected from being personal liability. Okay. Another question? Any other question? You're with us now, Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Good evening, everyone.
Would you do
So
number 6?
Number 6 or 7?
Number 6.
Oh, okay. Number 6, a corporate charter, A, is always required before bylaws are adopted. B, is unnecessary in any organization. C, should not be drafted before bylaws are adopted. And D, should be drafted by an attorney. And on page 11, it says a corporate charter should be drafted by an attorney.
Okay.
And must
letter D is correct. Another
okay, letter D.
question. Okay. Thank you. Let's see, who else have I not called on? Ms. Hornbuckle, number 7. Daphne, are you with us? You're muted if you are.
Amendments of an existing corporate charter requires.
Okay, let's go with Cora Stanley. Are you with us? Well, I'm just looking at my list of people.
I got it.
I believe the last one you called on had it.
I'm here. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Cora is going to do number 7.
Okay, let me get to the study guide.
Okay.
Okay, number 7, amendments of an existing corporate charter require A, adherence to the requirements of the law of the state of incorporation. B, adherence to the procedures in the parent organization rules. C, the same vote required to amend the bylaws. And D, a court. Did I read the wrong one?
No, you're ready.
D, a court order. Okay, so that's.
You're trying to amend existing charters. What does it require? Now remember, when you get a charter, it comes from a higher level than just local. So what would it take to amend that?
I like how she put it right there.
Would it be A?
It is A.
A, yes.
It is
thank
A.
you.
Adherence to the state law because you're incorporated by a state law. Okay, question about that? Okay, go on to number 8. Rory, would you read that one for us?
Yes, ma'am. Let's see. Question 8. How does the fact of incorporation affect the contents of a society's bylaws? A, the bylaws of a subordinate unit need not conform to any provisions in the bylaws of a superior body, only to the corporate charter. B, the name and object as set forth in the corporate charter must be included in the bylaws. C, the corporate charter supersedes all other rules of the society. D, as in dog, incorporation does not affect the content of a society's bylaws. Let's see. I think the answer C as in cat, because that's the highest level of the society.
That is correct. That's what you have to think of. What is the highest level? And that would affect the bylaws. And it is the corporate charter. Very good. Question? Dr. Anthony, Yvonne, number 9. Yvonne, unmute.
Unmute. Which of the following is not an example of a corporate charter? Certificate of incorporation, articles of association, a legal instrument of incorporation, a certificate or charter issued by an incorporated national organization granting the right to form a local or subordinate unit. D?
D is correct. A certificate issued by an incorporating national organization. They cannot grant you a charter. It has to be by a state or higher level, government level. Question? Okay, Mary Nixon, would you do number 10?
Sure. It is now the recommended practice to combine all of the society's basic rules relating principally to itself as an organization in a single instrument called the A, bylaws, B, corporate charter, C, constitution, D, rules of order. And organization in a single instrument called the bylaws. A.
Okay, bylaws deal with principally your parliamentary rules rather than your organizational rules.
Okay.
So this question asks about principally to itself as an organization. So bylaws would not be your correct choice.
Rules of order?
Again, rules of order deal principally with parliamentary rules. And the question is asking about rules for the organization itself.
Oh.
So that would be your
Constitution.
Your constitution.
Constitution.
Your constitution deals with rules relating to the organization itself. While bylaws relate to parliamentary rules, how you handle your motions and everything that you do within the organization, not necessarily what the organization itself does.
Are we on question number 10?
We are at question number 10 now.
Okay.
That was the question 10.
Well, the answer sheet does not have that for the answer, and it went in the sheet.
Letter Constitution.
It has bylaws. Bylaws. It has A, bylaws.
Yeah, in the book going, yeah.
And in the book
it says bylaws are constitution.
And when you combine them, you have constitution before bylaws.
Okay.
But the answer choice is A.
So the answer key is
the answer to number 10 should be C.
Okay. Well, the answer key says A.
All right, let's look at this again. Principally relating to the organization itself. When I look at the Constitution on page 11, Constitution or the bylaws, both, basic rules relating principally to itself as an organization. And as a single instrument, you would not call it just the bylaws, you would call it the Constitution.
So for the test, are we gonna put what the people have on this piece of paper or what you're saying, C?
We're gonna put C because some of these are incorrect.
Oh, I think that's something wrong. Okay, this is the right answer.
We're supposed to have a corrected answer sheet,
Yes.
and so that's not on the corrected answer sheet.
All right, I'll check that and come back to you. But when I did this test, I think I did the Constitution.
I think that's one you got on.
I will check with the national office on the education committee to see why they put that down. Term bylaw used in this book refers to the single combined, principally
Line 11 through
described.
And it's on page 12.
Primary characteristics of the organization and a single instrument.
This is.
All right, so go with, my apologies. Let me go with A until I get a correction on it. Go with A because that's what they say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's confusing.
It is.
You know, line 13, it is now the recommended practice of the society's rules of be combined into a single instrument, usually called the bylaws.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now look in
So
this
we're gonna put a
and see
question
the
mark
same thing.
there.
I'm sorry, say again.
We'll put a question mark there or go with A.
That was question number 10. Yes,
It
that
certainly
was
seems
10.
like it could be, Ms. Rita, it certainly seems like it could be both.
It could be, but usually when they put stuff like this on the test, they try not to give you confusing things like that. And so I'm gonna try and find out from even the 12th edition what it says about this legislative body for the convention of, for combining Constitution and bylaws. The term bylaws does refer to the single instrument.
I just checked the errata that was given to us through the Google Drive.
Yes.
And the question 10 is not on here.
Okay.
So I would assume that you are correct that it would be C.
Well, we're gonna go with A since that's what they have on the answer sheet for right now. And I will come back to you and confirm that it is A.
Okay.
Even from the 12th edition, it says the same wording. Okay. And that's why we go over this together, because sometimes you'll see one thing. And when I first took the test, I put A and I was told it was wrong. It was C. So that's why I chose C. I'm like, okay.
If you look at the
But what
line numbers, it says line 11 through 14.
Yes.
So bylaws is on line 14. It talks about Constitution in line 15. So
yes,
that may make you think it's bylaws too. Hey.
And when you combine it, you usually combine it to say bylaws rather than bylaw, Constitution and bylaws. It's what it's stating in the next of the term bylaws used in this book. Refers to this single combined type instrument. So when you combine it, under this book says, refer to it as bylaws, which is line 16.
Right.
Okay, so that's why A is the answer that you will choose rather than C.
I don't see that.
Okay, but again, I will check with the higher source than me. Okay, who have I not called on? Let's see. That's not driving or riding. Mr. Short, are you able to get to your book and your questions? Shake your head or
Yeah. Okay. Which question is it now?
Number 11.
The fundamental instrument establishing an unincorporated society is the A, special rules of order, B, adopted parliamentary authority, C, standing rules, D, bylaws. Okay, I'm gonna go with C, standing rules.
Fundamental instrument?
Yeah, the fundamental instrument establishing an unincorporated storm beyond society is the.
If I first started, I'm not going to come with standing rules. I'm going to come with bylaws.
Okay, bylaws. D.
Yeah. Letter D is correct. All right, thank you, sir. Sean. No, Shane Gilmore. Mr. Gilmore, you with us? You're muted.
I'm sorry, you said letter C for 11?
Yes, no, number 11 is D, bylaws.
Yeah, D.
D as in door.
Yeah.
Okay, you're on number 12.
Yeah. You want me to go?
Yes.
All right. Rules contained in the bylaws cannot be suspended unless A, previous notice has been given for the motion to suspend the rules, B, the particular rule specifically provides for its own suspension, or unless the rule is properly in the nature of a rule of order, C, the society has consistently ignored rules, or D, a motion is adopted to waive the by rule. And I'm going to go with A. Previous notice has been given for the motion to suspend rules.
Okay, now you're in the middle of a meeting and you come up with some kind of idea and you have to suspend the rules. Would you have already notified people you were going to do that?
No, but I believe that previous notice has to be given.
No. Previous notice means they've gotten it 7 days before.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and A is not correct. Because
Okay.
I don't know that I'm going to have to suspend the rules at the meeting.
I just say if something as major as that, you probably want to give advance notice, but that's not correct. So let's go. Let me look at it again here.
Okay.
Rules contained in the bylaws cannot be suspended unless. Let me go to my book, or should I say my wife's book?
Yes, your wife's book.
Hey, but you brought me the 12th edition. I need the 11th edition.
Well,
so see, she
okay.
Okay, all right, let's stay focused, Carol. Focus, Carol, focus.
The question, you don't know the answer, do you?
I know. You're supposed to have my back. Come on now. Let me read the question
Okay,
again.
Carol, help him out. Help him out.
I'm going to go with D.
D, a motion to adopt and waive the, no. You can't just suspend your bylaws because you don't like them.
Oh, I thought you could motion to say, so
You
then
can, but only if you all have in the bylaws that they can be.
so then it's got to be B.
So the answer would be B. You have to have a rule that says this rule can be suspended if certain conditions happen.
Okay.
Hey, look, as long as we both wrong, I'm good. We got some studying to do, Carol. Hey, look, Carol, I knew it wasn't C because our organizations be ignoring rules all the time.
Okay.
And I know that
So
ain't
the
right.
answer for number 12 is B.
Hey, Miss Rita, I can't answer anymore because my wife just chatted me and said bring her back her book. So
I got you. I got you. All right. We'll go to number 13 then. Michelle, yours.
The number of articles in the suggested model bylaws in RONR is A10, B12, C9, or D7. The answer is C9.
9 is correct. And you all need to remember what the rules of order, the number of articles that go in a bylaw in case you have an organization you're going to start. There are certain things that you have to have in there, like the name, And there's a mnemonic that I use for it. No mom accepts CPAs. And that's 9 different ones.
Oh, mommy.
No mom exempts CPAs. No being NO, the name of the organization, the objective of the organization. Mom, the membership. O, the officers. M, what's the other one?
Meetings.
Okay, meetings, yes. And then accepts or exempts would be your executive board once you have your officers. And then CPA would be, the C would be your committees. And your P is your parliamentary authority beyond your bylaws, which is RNR in most cases. And then A, how do I amend these bylaws? So that's 9 different things that all bylaws should address. Okay, number 14, let's see, who did I not call on?
Member Cloman, this is Daphne. I'm back.
Yes, ma'am. All right, well then while you're back, let's go with number 14.
Okay. It is not necessary to include articles on the name and object in the bylaws. A, when the name and object are stated in the corporate charter. B, when the bylaws are preceded by the preamble, which states the name and object. C, when the society is not incorporated. D, if the bylaws are printed in the yearbook. I'm thinking A, when the name and object.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
A is the correct answer. When the name
Okay.
and objects are stated, it is not a mandatory thing that you put it in your bylaws. Most organizations put it in their bylaws because the national organization may be just general while you have a specific unit name. So that's why you include it in there, but it is not mandatory that it's done if it's the same as the national organization. Okay. Number 15, who have I not called on?
I'll take it, Member Connie.
Connie?
Yes, ma'am. Dividing the basic rules of an organization into a constitution and bylaws is an appropriate practice only when A, the Constitution and the corporate charter are combined in a single document. B, the Constitution duplicates much of the corporate charter. C, the bylaws contain the most essential provisions. And D, the Constitution is made more difficult to amend. It is going to be D, the Constitution is made more difficult to amend.
Correct. All right. Carol, did you get your book back to do the next one? Number 16, I believe.
I did not.
But that's okay. You don't need it. You have your answers.
But she told me she was going to buy herself a new one.
Oh, no.
I tried to give it to her.
Excuse
Go
me.
ahead, Carol. Number 16. We're not going
Asking to hear from him. Exactly. The number 16, the bylaws comprise the highest body of rules in societies as normally established today, except for
read them all.
Oh, I'm sorry, except for A, rules of order adopted by the organization. B, special rules of order. C, the corporate charter. D, standing rules. I want to say A. I'm torn between the A and D.
Well, both of those are incorrect.
Okay, so then I'm gonna go with B.
No.
I got you, baby.
It's a corporate charter.
It's C. It's
It
corporate.
should be
I got
C.
you, baby.
Your highest ranking rules for any society would be the corporate charter.
Okay.
because it can never be changed except by the state law.
Okay.
I don't know if it helps anybody, but the way how I remember corporate charters above bylaws is to think of a CEO. The CEO is the boss of everybody.
Okay. But
Thank
that,
you.
whatever it takes for each of you. Good idea. Okay. Someone else I've not called on? Or have I called on everyone? All right then, we'll start again. Marion Willard, will you take number 17? You're muted.
All right, I'm going to do number 18.
17.
17. For most societies, the adoption of a manual of parliamentary procedures has the effect of providing the society with. So if you go to page 15, look between lines 7 and 32, you will find that the correct answer, A, standing rules, B, bylaws, C, rules of order, D, special rules of order. And I found the correct answer to be C, rules of order.
Rules of order is correct. Thank you. Number 18, we're back to you, Doretha. Christian.
Number 18, the written rules of parliamentary procedure formerly. Wait. Sorry. The phone rang. Number 18, the written rules of parliamentary procedure formerly adopted by an assembly are referred to as A, standing rules, B, rules of order, C, general orders, or D, special orders. The written rules of parliamentary procedure. Is B, rules of order.
Rules of order is correct. Remember that you're doing the parliamentary procedure, so that's the rules you go by. Very good. Number 19, Ramsey.
All right. Rules of order relate to details of administration of a society, details of conventions only, the orderly transaction of business and meetings, and to the duties of officers in that connection, or D, disciplinary procedures only. It was going to be C.
Correct. Orderly transaction of business. Rules of order, how you handle what you do. Very good. Judy, number 20.
Okay, 20. Rules of order define the primary characteristics of an organization, prescribe how the organization functions, cannot be suspended. C, D, provide a firm basis of resolving questions of procedure. I'm gonna say B.
B as in boy.
B as in boy.
Rules of order does not necessarily tell us how we function.
Okay. Action of business. Facilitate the smooth. Oh, is it C?
Well, they can be suspended, so no.
They can be.
Rules of order can.
Well, I'm down to 2. So
letter D. D as in door, they provide you a basis for how you will proceed. Rules of order tell you how you proceed with certain.
Yeah, and what stumped me on that one was questions.
Resolving
said provide-
questions of procedure, yeah. Most of the time, you know what the procedure is that you're going to follow. So if you have a question about it, you have rules of order.
You
that
go
help you
to the rules
keep
of
that in.
order. Okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see, I think Valerie, you told me you did not have yours.
Oh, I have mine.
Okay, would you do, what are we on?
20.
20.
21.
No, that was 21.
Okay, if a society has adopted bylaws that do not designate a parliamentary authority, one may be adopted by A, the same vote required to adopt the original laws, B, the same vote required to adopt a special rule of order, C, the same vote and notice required to amend the bylaws, or D, a majority vote without notice. Let's see. I'm going to say B, the same vote required to adopt a special rule of order.
Correct. RONR is something special you'll use when your bylaws don't address whatever it is you're talking about. So whatever it takes to adopt that special rule, if your bylaws are not already addressing who the authority is, it would take that same amount to change it. Question? Okie dokie. Terry Hooper, could you go to 22?
Yes, ma'am. 22, special rules of order. A, modify the rules contained in the parliamentary authority. B, cannot conflict with the rules in the parliamentary authority. C, do not supersede any rules in the parliamentary authority. Or D, must be adopted with and placed within the society's bylaws. Looking at I think it's A, modify, they modify the rules contained in the parliamentary authority.
Correct. Special rules modify what your parliamentary authority says in your own bylaws. Okay.
Do they, I'm
20
sorry, can I ask a quick question?
Certainly, certainly.
Do they also not supersede any rules of the parliamentary authority?
No. Parliamentary rules of order do not supersede your bylaws. Rules of order
I'm sorry,
tell you-
the special rules of order do not supersede any rules of the parliamentary authority. I guess I'm asking, could it be also C?
No, they do not supersede your authority because special rules were put in to modify what your parliamentary authorities say. So if they're in there, they could supersede it, but they don't have to.
Oh, they could. Okay.
They could, especially if they've not been addressed in your bylaws.
Okay.
23. Barbara Lewis. If you're talking to me, you're muted.
Okay.
Okay.
23, special rules of order are superseded by A, the adopted parliamentary authority, B, resolutions, C, standing rules, D, applicable local, state, or national laws. That would be D, applicable local, state, or national laws.
Correct. Applicable if it's superseded by that which is over it. And good. Number 24, Dr. Anthony. Is it gone?
Okay, this is Yvonne. Information contained in another parliamentary manual that is in conflict with the adopted parliamentary authority has no bearing on the case at hand, has some bearing on the case at hand, may be referred to the assembly for vote, may be considered as persuasive. And they say that is on page 16, 27 and 29. It may be considered persuasive. D.
Try that again.
Try that again, okay.
If it's in conflict with your parliamentary authority.
If it's in conflict. Would it be referred to the assembly for vote?
No, ma'am, it has no bearing on the case at hand.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Rita, can you give me an example of another parliamentary manual?
There are 3 to 4 different parliamentary, besides Robert's Rules of Order. You have your.
There's one called the American Institute of Parliamentarians Standard Code. That's a very popular one. And there's Demeter, Cushing, Keesley, and quite a few others.
Quite a few.
Okay.
And if you just go to parliamentary authorities on your internet, it'll get a list a whole lot of them.
Gotcha.
Roberts is the most common one. The others usually are specific for certain types of incorporations, or they are for certain types of societies and organizations. Most of them.
I have a quick question.
Yes, Rory.
For question 24, is that the reason why, as a parliamentarian, if you don't have training with that particular authority, you can't be a parliamentarian?
Not necessarily.
For that society?
No, that unless that society's bylaws say that they have a restriction on your certification, then you could be any type of certified parliamentarian for most organizations.
Okay. I was just a little bit confused as when I got the joint ethics document when I became a member.
Yes.
I think it said somewhere if you aren't familiar with that authority, that ethically you are to decline your services.
Yes. Some organizations do decline certain levels.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good question.
Yeah.
Number 25, who am I on? Bauman.
By the way, the number 24 is A, right?
25.
25.
Number
When
25.
a particular work is adopted as a parliamentary authority, what any other book may say on any point. A, may be persuasive, but is not binding upon the society, is of equal authority, can replace the adopted parliamentary authority for one meeting only, and B is may not be considered under any circumstances. I think is A, may be persuasive, but is not binding upon the society.
That is correct. It's kind of like what Dr. Yvonne was saying, that I think it's persuasive. Well, yes, it could be, but you're not obligated to it. And number 26, Jackie Bond. I'm coming to you, Sean. Jane.
Okay. It's at number 26. Suspension of
That's
rules
correct.
of suspension of rules of order requires A, a 2/3 vote, B, majority vote, C, one member's demand, D, the chair's decision. And let's see here. And the answer is A, 2/3 vote.
Correct. Anything that's in the bylaws already and you want to suspend takes more than a majority in most cases, unless your bylaws say something different. Okay. Mr. Gilmore, number 27.
All right. Why is there a 21 in parentheses right there?
Why is there a 21 in parentheses where?
Oh,
I'll say, okay. In each of these, this particular document was rewritten and every question was put in the category rather than just on the page number. So they had to go back and forth. And this refers to the previous document in case you don't have the current one. Those were the question numbers in the RONR before they rewrote the document of questions.
okay. Rules which can be suspended by 2/3 of a vote are, or 2/3 vote are, A, a rule of order protecting a minority of less than 1/3 or less of those voting, special rules of order, C, procedural rules prescribed by federal, state, or local laws, or D, bylaw provisions that are not in the nature of rules of order. Let's go to page 17 and investigate this. 19. Special rules of order. B.
B is correct for number 27.
Woohoo! You hear that, Carol?
Number 28, Dennis. Mute yourself and then unmute Dennis and see if it's clearer. Okay, and then unmute and see what happens because you're not coming through. Okay, now try it.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
28.
Bylaws. A, in the nature of rules of order cannot be suspended. B, may be suspended if they relate to the duties of officers. C, must authorize all powers assumed by the organization. D, prescribe administrative function of the organization. It's on page 17, 20, 22 to 25. And it says, let me go. In the nature of rules of order cannot be suspended. Rules in the bylaws cannot be suspended. A.
They may be suspended if Does everyone have B for number 28? B as in boy, may be suspended if they relate to the duties of officers in connection with meetings.
Said A.
That would be correct. I think.
I don't see that.
Yeah, I think the duties of officers, where does it say that? Chairman Rita?
Okay, we're on page 17.
22 through 25.
Line 22. Rules of order, which contained in the parliamentary procedure, can be suspended. And that one says cannot be suspended. So that's why that's not the correct answer for 28. Or which one are we on? Yes, 28. Is that right? We're on, no, we're on, yeah.
28.
Number 28, letter B is the correct answer. (22) Rules of order contained in the parliamentary procedure can be suspended with a 2/3 vote, as explained in section 25, with the specific exceptions.
I'm looking at line 25, man.
Line 25, suspended by 2/3 vote, but the exception of the rules clauses of their suspension rules cannot be suspended, with the exception, except as such rules or clauses are provided in their own suspension. And because of their own suspension, they can only be suspended if they relate to officers in connection with their duties. Rules 25, rules of orders. 2/3 vote, with the exception they're specified. Nature of rules within the bylaws can be suspended with 2/3 vote, but the exception of the rules. Dun, 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 dun. Adoption. Oh, that's another one that we have to be careful about. Special rules of order. Although they're placed in the bylaws. 28, bylaws in the nature of rules of order cannot be suspended in the nature of rules of order. And this is special rules and not rules of order. They're on the wrong page.
Simple search.
Rules of order. And shift it. Rules of order.
I think the part that's missing is as it relates to the duties of officers in connection with meetings. That's the part I don't see.
I don't see that.
Is it because of the process of elimination that you come back to it may be suspended?
I think it might be under one of the exceptions that it keeps saying, but it doesn't refer, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't reference the exceptions.
Mm-hmm. I think because part of it does say that it can be suspended. I think that's why it rules out A.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see anything about C or D in there, so that's why I came back to B.
Mm-hmm.
Did we lose member Cloman?
I think we did, y'all. And it's going to happen from time to time, and you all are right to do what you all are doing. Just keep moving on. And then I'm listening. I've been in and out of this, of the group, but I'm listening, and we'll get some clarification and put it and provide it for you all in the group chat on number 28. I did make a note of it. But if whoever is scheduled to do number 29 wants to go ahead and move forward with that.
Johns Hopkins reports that. How much longer are we gonna go?
We're on 29 and we're gonna finish with number 30.
Okay,
I
thank
can
you.
do number 29. When not pending, special rules of order that are separate from the bylaws may be amended by a majority vote with previous notice, B, 2/3 vote with previous notice, C, majority vote, D, 2/3 vote, and that's on page 1728. I'm gonna read the question again. It's 2/3 vote with previous notice. That's right.
Thank you, Member Cunny. Any questions on number 29? All right, someone want to finish us off with number 30?
What was number 29?
B, 2/3 vote with previous notice. And if you go to page 17, it's on line 25. Be suspended by 2/3 vote, but except for that. It's right there on page 17.
Thank you, I found it.
Okay.
Should I read number 30?
No, yeah, that's gonna be hard. You gotta research that one too. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, guys, that was Member Cloman. She apologizes. She's trying to get back in. I'm sorry, what was your question on 29?
One of the members helped me find the answer.
Okay, was it 2/3 with notice?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's what it should be. All right, number 30.
I can read number
Mike.
30. This
Thank
is
you.
Mike. Adopting or amending special rules of order placed within the bylaws requires A, a 2/3 vote, B, a vote of the majority of the entire membership of the organization, C, following the procedure for amending the bylaws, or D, a majority vote. Adopting or amending special rules of order within the bylaws would be C, following the procedure for amending the bylaws.
That is correct. If the rule is already in your bylaws and you need to amend it, then you have to follow whatever procedure your bylaws prescribe for amending the bylaws. There was a question earlier, I kind of overheard it. I was in and out of meetings about special rules of order, Member Daphne, about the order of rank. Was that a question that was had earlier? Did y'all get that situated?
No, I don't think we got it cleared up.
You remember what the question was?
I think it was number 10.
All right, read it to me real quick. I don't have it in front of me. I'm just a backup.
Okay. All right. It is now the recommended practice to combine all the society's basic rules relating principally to itself as an organization in a single instrument called and the question was, I think so, Member Cloman was saying C, Constitution, but the book was saying A, bylaws.
Right, the answer is bylaws.
Okay.
Bylaws are the rules that you come up with principally on how you're going to govern yourself. So yes.
And so she was thinking that it was C because that's the highest rule that goes above bylaws. So that's why she was saying C.
Right, now if your organization has a constitution and a separate constitution from bylaws, then the answer would be constitution. But if you read in Roberts, they're going to refer to your bylaws because 9 times out of 10, your constitution and bylaws are together. And usually you don't have rules listed in the constitution. You would leave them for your bylaws. So to make it as clear as mud, the answer to the question is bylaws. But should you have any rules in your constitution, that would be the only reason why the constitution would be that answer in real life. But know that the answer to this question is bylaws. Were there any other questions that need to be clarified before we go? Oh, there go Member Reader. We got her back. Perfect. Go ahead with your question.
I apologize to you all. I've had troubles with my computer going up and down, in and out. I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did. And, did we finish all 30?
Yes, I think there was one more question. Was there one more question?
Yes, I have one quick
There's a
question.
question on number 28.
Okay, let's do Rory, and then we'll do member Rory, and then we'll do member Derry.
No, I was just saying it was question number 28.
Oh, was that what?
Yes.
Yeah, we finished 28, and then we finished 29, and then we finished 30.
The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan,
Come on, Rory, go ahead.
like what President
I did not get the answer to number 3. I had to step out momentarily.
All right. Anyone that you that you didn't
Letter D as in door.
Okay,
And
that's what
I
I
had a
was
question.
thinking.
I had a question for Rita or for Keisha. What's the difference between the 11th edition and the 12th edition?
There are minor changes, I was told, for the way it's presented. The layout is different in 11 and 12. And they've also addressed some of the, I think it's about 20 different line items that they changed the perspective of what RONR says. I do not know any specific ones that I can tell you at the moment. That's what I was told when I was talking with my instructor. And he was saying they haven't put it out yet, even though I know the president of our unit went to a discussion about it. And they are supposed to put online a link to let you know those. And we do plan on looking at that and trying to present it to our unit members.
One of the major
answers at this time.
One of the major differences here, we refer to the page and line number. In R12, they refer to sessions and paragraph.
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, the layout is different.
And Madam Instructor, I just noticed that the president of TSAP is on. I don't know if you all had said hello to him already. President Gray, are you on? Do you hear me? Are you watching the debate? We can see your picture. Okay, well, I'm talking about you just for the record, y'all. He's on. Okay.
Well, we're glad to have Mr. President present.
If it
Member-
is,
member- Member Fakisha, we had some discussion on number 28. I think that was the other question that, there was discussion on the correct answer.
Okay, yeah, we're going to get clarification on 28, and then we'll follow back up in an email and in the group chat to make sure that it's
Okay.
clear.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anybody else before we close out?
Just for Shane, there's on the Roberts Rules website, if you go down more towards the end of the page, it talks about the changes to the 12th edition in a PDF file.
Perfect. Thank you, Rory. Will you get that link and just email it to us? Thank you. Well, thank you so much.
Would you like it emailed or put it in this chat?
No, just email it to me and I'll get it out. Thank you so much to our fabulous instructor, Coleman PRP. She will be back next week, and I hope that you all will be back next week also. Remember, if you have any questions in between time, go ahead and drop them in the group chat. We are all members there, and we sent Member Coleman an invitation, but I will get any questions to her if she doesn't see them. We will get you clarification on number 28. And
quick question.
Yes.
The
hi, Mr. President. Yes.
Hello. I heard you say my name, but I was messed up and I couldn't unmute. And I had to wash my hands because fooling with my dog. Anyway, I apologize for not acknowledging you when you mentioned me. I just want to quickly say to everybody, thank you for your passion for parliamentary procedure and good luck in your studies for RP. I know you're going to do a great job. You have some wonderful people working with you. And I just know in a few months, you will all be RPs. So just stay the course, learn, read, and remember to follow up after this meeting. It's not just happening right here in the sessions, it's what you do after the sessions as well. So thank you very much for being here and thank you for welcoming me.
course, and you are more than welcome to come at any time, as we will be doing this until April.
Thank you very much.
We'll ask, we might have to ask you for some answers as the president, but we will get back with everyone on next week, and enjoy the rest of the week and the weekend, and we will talk again on next Wednesday. And I so enjoyed all of you being here. Good night to all.
Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.